Hey everyone, my name is Ksenia, and today my guest here is the kick demon, Janai Kai.
Yes, hello, how are you?
I'm so good, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You have a very distinctive in-ring style, and from your social media I've gathered up that you also do kickboxing or have done kickboxing. Can you tell us more about what went into your wrestling style?
Yes, so I do have a kickboxing background. I also have a Taekwondo background. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. And then I also do Muay Thai, which is also another style of kind of like kickboxing, but there's more like elbows and knees involved into it. So a lot of my style is more stand-up striking style and in the ring, obviously. So that's where the inspiration came from.
And I feel like it's quite an unconventional style to have on the indies, because in the recent years the fashion has been more towards like the flippy stuff. And I know even in GCW you're successfully employing this. So do you feel like the indies are now looking more towards the more technical styles, or are you just incorporating it in the scene that exists right now?
The scene is being more open to the technical style for sure. And you are seeing more people who have a martial arts background coming in. I'm seeing it. I'm actually facing more people with a martial arts background. So it's cool for me to see because I can relate to them. And it's also cool to see them showcase their style because I know how it is. My style is different. Their style is different compared to the flippy stuff or the hybrid style. But it's cool because we know realistically how we would fight. And then now implementing it in the ring with professional wrestling, which is a little bit different, obviously, it's kind of cool to transition all of that and to showcase that.
Yeah, I would imagine it would play into the believability of the thing a lot, because you actually know how martial arts work.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So what about the demon part? Where did that come from? Why are you demon? How did that happen?
So this happened around summer of 2021. Where I was part of this promotion called CFU, which is Combat Fights Unlimited. And this is a promotion that showcases people with a martial arts background. And so I was in the tournament for that promotion, and this show, when it aired on IWTV, there was a specific company in Japan, I believe it's Freebirds. They were watching and they saw me and they gave me a nickname, which was the Kick Demon. So they saw me kicking a lot like crazy because that's who I am. I'm a kicker. And they gave me that nickname. So right when I saw that, I was like, you know what? That's actually pretty cool. That works. I needed something to refresh myself anyways. And right when I heard that, I'm like, this feels like something. So I went along with it.
I mean, it does suit you very well.
Thank
I will
you.
say that. Now let's go to your GCW run. You've been in GCW and JCW a lot this past couple of years, I would say. But a lot of people have a problem with GCW in regard of how they book women. And I will go on record and say that there have been more and more women on GCW cards. But has that somehow influenced you finding your place in the card, or would you personally like to see more women booked, or do you prefer working with men? How do you just view this situation?
It's tricky because still for women's wrestling, we are still trying to showcase who we are as women and what our style is, and have that spot for ourselves, but for also other women who can have that opportunity as well. I think it's kind of hard to say this is where I belong. I'm still trying to figure out where I actually belong, but overall my goal is to showcase my style. That's the only thing I ever think about. I mean, if they're not booking me for this show or that show, or having any woman on the card, putting me on a little match or anything, it's fine. I'll go with whatever that I have. If it's just one little thing, I'm going to take advantage of that one little thing. And I was thankful with GCW to have, you know, a match against Billy Starks last year. And this was last year, September, I believe. And we opened the show. And it felt good. It felt good, especially with Billy, because Billy is just amazing, too. And I love that. And I love that we were able to do that. And I'm thankful that GCW gave me that opportunity to do that, and for her to do that too. And then also for Hammerstein, I was thankful to have that opportunity at Hammerstein to come out in the beginning for that battle royal. And so, but I agree that, you know, there's still more improvements to be made when it comes to having the woman showcased more. I see it. I know a lot of people see it. I've heard people talk about it. It's just a matter of time, for real. And I am seeing it as far as like bringing other women in, like Lufisto has been coming in, Masha Slamovich has been coming in a lot. So we're getting there. It takes time, it takes some patience, but you know, women are also showcasing at other promotions, so I think it's cool to see that too. But yes, just a matter of time and patience when it comes to that. But I see it happening for sure.
Also, I feel like one thing a lot of people don't realize is that it's a matter of patience, not just for the promoters to get to it, but also for the viewer, because it takes some time to introduce new talent and to have people actually get behind them. So it surely doesn't happen overnight.
Exactly.
Piggybacking off this, and you said how women get showcased in other promotions, but still in this day and age, we have promotions that showcase no women, like zero. So New Japan has been subject of criticism in that regard. And a lot of people say that like depends on the culture. A lot of people say that like Stardom acts as the women's division, which I don't see how that could happen because it's a separate promotion. So like, what's your stance on promotions existed in 2022 and not having a women's division?
Yeah, that's another tricky thing. I still don't know what their views are in Japan as well, like going back to like culture and everything, and bringing women in. I know they had like a couple women come through where they're just maybe valets. But yeah, in the ring, you know, I don't know what they're thinking mainly, but I do know that they do team up with Stardom in some cases. Like they do have like their bigger events and have the Stardom girls come through and collaborate with them, which is cool. But yeah, again, it's so tricky to really see how they are when it comes to all of that. Yeah,
and Japan is definitely, from what I know, a very, very patriarchal culture, which I honestly don't think it's like reason enough to excuse it. But I would guess it's definitely harder to...
No, and you know, I've seen intergender matches in Japan.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so you know, for New Japan in general to be open to that, that's up to them too. But like, at least like seeing that there is intergenders going on. Yeah, exactly.
But also for New Japan, especially since they're working with AEW now and they're very much in the American scene, I feel like they need to catch up.
Take some notes.
Actually, learn your lesson, do your homework. And you have appeared in AEW.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, not just on Dark, but on Rampage. So can you tell us how that opportunity came along? How did that happen for you?
For Rampage, it was so last minute. I didn't know I was going to be there like till the day before. Yeah, it was so random. I was literally just in my room chilling, thinking like, oh, what I'm gonna do tomorrow, and I get a phone call.
Be on TV, maybe.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I get a phone call and it's from Thunder Rosa, and she was asking me what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm like, nothing. Like, I was literally just thinking. I was like, no, nothing. She's like, well, now you are doing something, and she told me about what's happening. And it's in Atlanta, they're gonna fly me out because I'm in DC. And so like, okay, cool. And right off the bat, I called my mom. I was like, Mom, like I have this and that going on. You gotta help me out here. Like I need you to clean up my hair because she does hair. Like I need to get ready. I need to get TV ready, basically. And so
in one day.
Yeah. And so all of that happened. It was just so crazy for Rampage. And so Rampage happened. And if you saw the match, it was literally like 3 seconds. But
it's to be expected. Like, very new faces being brought out like this.
It was a great opportunity too, because for me, even though I knew like, okay, this is not going to be a match where I'm completely going to showcase myself, I gotta take advantage of the time that I actually have. Yeah, so I knew I was going to be in there for like not that long, but I knew that I had to take advantage of it. And I'm thankful for my mentors who taught me that when it comes to TV or any opportunity where you know like what your position is going to be, and it's going to be a position that's not going to be like a long time on camera, what you need to do. So that's what I did. I took advantage of the camera time that I had and to showcase who I am. And then on Twitter, and everybody like started like blowing up and saying like, who is this kick demon, whatever, like. So I was very happy to see that, but you know, I wanted to showcase more, and I did express that. And then I got invited to go to Dark Elevation in DC. So that opportunity was great as well, because I was able to have 2 matches, one against Red Velvet and then the other against Layla Hirsch. And yeah, that was just a great experience, and I'm glad, again, showcasing my style is the most important thing to me, and I'm glad I was able to do that on there.
Is there anything planned for the future with AEW?
No, not right now. As far as like them coming over to like DC area again, I'm always reaching out and letting them know, hey, like, I'm still in the area if need be, but in the meantime, I'm going to keep working hard and showcasing myself at other big promotions in the indies as well, and keep doing what I'm doing. And, you know, like, you never know what's going to happen, and I just like to keep my head straight and focus and do what I love to do.
Yeah. Is getting signed with AEW goal that you would want to pursue?
Oh yeah, like I'm definitely open to that. You know, I have the goal of going to Japan too. So you know, I have different things in my mind right now where I'm like, okay, like if this is not happening right now, I got this to look forward to. Like there's always different opportunities to look forward to in wrestling, which is great. So like that's like another thing. Like Japan is definitely a big thing that I'm looking towards right now.
And even like on the indies, like in GCW, that we're at GCW right now pretty much, you do a lot of intergender matches and you do a lot of like mixed tags, but TV promotions, televised promotions still don't do that. Like we got one like proper mixed tag in AEW ever on the Jericho Cruise, Riho and Kenny Omega versus Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, but that was pretty much about it. So first of all, how do you feel about that, and why do you feel that happens? Why do bigger promotions not want?
There's a way to go about it. There's definitely a way to go about intergender matches. You have to be very careful with it, and if you do go about it the correct way, then it'll be nice to watch. A lot of people are kind of shaky about it only because it kind of, in some sort of way, they think it promotes abuse, like domestic abuse in a sense.
Which I very deeply disagree with that.
Right. So that's why I say, like, especially in intergender matches, nowadays we're trying to get away from, punching the girl in the face, maybe. You know.
Which still, like, if you think about it like that, you're trying to steer away from punching a girl in the face. Why? Because the girl's inherently weaker than the guy. We're trying to not believe that anymore. Like what is?
And then at the end of the day, professional wrestling is like, if you are fighting, and you know there are very tough girls out there who could beat men up for real, like in real life. So it's like on TV, there still might be people that might be a little bit triggered that are watching, which is understandable, and I think that's why they're trying not to showcase it on TV. Just for that reason, to where if people are triggered watching professional wrestling and they see that and they have like a past of some sort that kind of reminds them of what happened to them, then that could become an issue, which I get. But you know, I think that if that's the reason, and also with whatever the company, like the TV network they're working with, they probably have rules as well. So it's not just the wrestling company itself, it's probably the TV company too, and other surrounding like higher ups that are making these decisions who don't get wrestling. So that's another thing. But what's cool to me still, you know, we still have the indies. We still we have streaming services where you could, if you want to watch intergender wrestling, you can. But it's just a lot of things connected that kind of makes it really shaky, like a really tricky thing to do.
Would you want it to transfer to TV wrestling eventually though?
Oh yeah, because I've learned throughout my years already of how to work TV, and I want to get more of that experience, because there's a difference between wrestling on TV versus wrestling on the indies, because there's different things that you have to focus on when it comes to TV, like the camera angles or like the way that the timing, like all of that is much different than if you were on the indies, because in the indies you are much more open to do just whatever you want. Basically, you do have a time limit for your matches, but at the end of the day you can still do whatever you want on there. But on TV they're a little bit more on top of you. And I would love to have more of an experience on that end, for sure.
Yeah. And with Rampage, you mentioned that like it was a very short match, but with Elevation, you got a little more time. And how much creative freedom would you say you had there?
As far as creative freedom goes, they just tell me like, oh, this is kind of how we want the vibe to be, and then they kind of just let me do whatever I really wanted to with the person. Obviously, with Jade, who Jade is. You know, like we know what's gonna happen. Yeah. So that was okay with me, because I am professional as well, and I know how to make people look good. So that was no issue for me to do.
That's another thing. It's like it's one thing to make yourself look good, but it's another thing to make someone else look good.
Exactly.
That's very valuable as well.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing for them too. They want to see that you are professional in that sense. So that was no issue for me. And then, you know, like, I was happy that I had more time. Like, when I wrestled Red Velvet, I was able to do more. And that was when they were a little bit more open. Like, just have a standard match. Standard 5-minute TV match. And that's what we did. And it was basically whatever we wanted to do. And, yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like a more technical style, kind of like your style is for some reason less represented in women in TV wrestling?
I'm seeing some women who are showcasing more technical, actually, like Serena Deeb, for example.
Yeah, sure.
Great technical wrestler.
Or Deonna Purrazzo.
Deonna Purrazzo. Yeah. Great technical wrestler.
I feel like in men, being like a technical wrestler is way more like marketable almost, because like we have Brian Danielson, we have Yuta, we have Lee Moriarty, we have Daniel Garcia, who are all like the indie darlings. Yeah. But with women, for some reason, it's like more gimmicky and more like flashy, and it has to be almost.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, so there's a way to work with it, because if you are a women's wrestler and technical is your thing, like for me, striking is my thing, there's a way to make it, you know, different and appealing in a sense. Some people just already have it in their head that they don't want to watch technical wrestling, or like if they're gonna watch women's wrestling, they have different views about it too. But there's a way to go about
strange.
it.
Like, give it a chance.
Yeah, I've gotten it so many times though, to be honest, like with my style, because I do a lot of striking and a lot of kicking, and I do put wrestling moves in my arsenal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I've had it where people were asking for more of the wrestling, but at the end of the day, I'm going to do what's me, because that's the best that I'm going to be. So,
and that's what makes you different. What makes you stand out.
100%. And I acknowledge women to do whatever style they want to do at the end of the day. If they see that, and try it out. Try out different styles if you don't know what your style is. And if you see that you're much better maybe at lucha than technical, then do more lucha, you know? Forget what anybody else is really saying, where they're like, nah, like, take that out. Like, do what you're comfortable with and you know you look good at doing. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much just be yourself in a broad sense, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or else you're just going to lose yourself. I've honestly had it where I almost died. I didn't know who I was for a second during my career, because I was having a lot of those comments coming at me. But then I thought about it, and I was like rewatching my matches. I'm like, no, this is not me. This is not who I am. I'm going to change this up. Right? I don't care what anyone says anymore when it comes to that. I'm doing whatever I want to do, because what I'm seeing right now is not me, and it does not look good in my eyes, so I'm changing it.
And if you don't like it, then how are you going to sell it to anyone else?
Exactly. It has to be believable. People need to believe that you're genuinely being yourself in that ring.
And I feel like you're succeeding in this right now.
Thank you.
And on this beautiful note, if you have anything to plug, merch, social media, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. It's Janai_Kai. JANAI_KAI. And then as far as merch goes, I don't have a specific website, but I do sell it as shows, or if you see me posting any new merch, just DM me and I'll let you know my PayPal, and I typically just ship it out myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you.
It was great. And you guys, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe, tap the notification bell to never miss an upload, and until next time, Goodbye.